Sweet darling, that ain't the way you make love. You've been turning around uptown, doing some fancy clown, doing some fancy clown. You've been turning around uptown, doing some fancy clown, doing some fancy clown. You've been, I hear you in the background.
One of the unusual things about this group is that each guy in the group can lead. Any guy in the group can do it.
Straight out the Ville. It's the Back Alley Fellas Podcast.
They said we could never make it. They said
Yeah, they got it bumping. In the back alley. Taking shots of whiskey and only go.
Yo, what's happening? We back. What's up?
Going on?
Peace and blessings to everyone. Back Alley Fellas Podcast is back. Be in the building. Peace to the family. What's going on?
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, how you doing?
1/3 of your host, Mike D. It's your brother, Big Pat. Brother Six. What's happening with you?
Same thing, big brother. How you doing, bro? How you doing, MD?
I'm good. I got my whole government up there too. Shoot.
Yeah, you do.
That's all good. Yeah. I got my whole government, but that's all good. I'm well though. How about you? How you doing, brother?
Doing good. Doing real good, man. Almost perfect, man. Walking along. What's up with your brother, Pat? I see you in there.
I'm making it, man. Every day above ground's a good one, man. It's always
you know it.
To be in the midst of you brothers. I just want to give a shout out to my partner, Big Reg, Fat Blood.
Fat Blood.
Peace and blessings. Rest in power, brother. Rest in power.
To him and the family. What's up,
family? Indeed. You know, it's all our fallen soldiers. Yeah. You know, just chilling, man. Just completed one portion of this diversity and inclusion certification.
Okay.
So I got one class out, 3 more to go. So it's interesting.
What's up?
Yeah.
I've been feeling good, man. I think I got a upper chest respiratory infection or something, man, going on.
Well, so, you know, lately, man, you know, when everything changes, like the weather sometimes and the humidity, you know, you can get that music, you can get that drainage. Like you get them headaches and then the drainage. Yeah, so I take some Alivert D12. I'm not shouting y'all out. You know, I'm just telling you what it with now. Alivert, if you want to get with us and sponsor the Black Alley Fella Podcast, then we'll definitely shout you out. But I take this one particular thing, and it helps. It kind of stops the drainage. You know what I mean? And it helps. Yeah. But,
mine is different. I deal with more with my asthma during the changing of the seasons than you know, the draining of the sinus and stuff. I know Pat kind of deals with the kind of the sinuses and stuff and that nature. Mine is more the chest and stuff
Okay.
like that. Man.
Okay.
So I think that's what it is. Hopefully that's what it is. Ain't nothing else, but
Right.
I'm
Well,
tired of it. Make me an
Well, yo,
appointment.
we do want to shout out our first time, last time, and in between viewers. We appreciate you. I know we got to get more consistent with how we do what we do to bring you that content. We want to shout out our content creators. Blessings to you all. Let's keep pushing the envelope, pushing those content. But everyone that tuned in and continues to tune in and comments and just
Thank you.
gets at us and be like, yo, Mike, when y'all putting something out, I appreciate you. I appreciate my friends that just hit me up and be like, when y'all coming out with something, I definitely appreciate y'all. So,
Yeah, tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody. All the viewers out there, glad to have you. Glad to see you once more again.
indeed. So with that, our routine. What's in your cup? Got a recipe from one of my coworkers. May try it out one day, and let y'all know what it's like. But Big Pat, what you got in your cup today? Because I know it's always something interesting.
Hey man, I'm just going back home to our roots, Kentucky. I got a little bit of wild turkey, rye whiskey. So I got a little bit of wild turkey today.
Wild turkey, my God.
Yeah, we go. It's straight from Kentucky.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you that wild turkey honey
Yeah, that's nice.
is on ice.
Yeah.
Something nice.
We had a neighbor come over. We smoked a couple cigars and everything. He brought us some wild turkey. I guess he figured because we was from Kentucky, because he said that. I know you Kentucky boys drink whiskey and bourbon. Okay, so so we
that was cool.
Let's see what it do. What about you, brother Six?
What you got?
I got me a good cold glass of H2O. I'm gonna be fasting this week. No alcohol content for this week.
Okay,
And,
that's what's up.
So I'm gonna drink this H2O for the night. You see, I'm dialed down about a notch or two. Bro, Mike, what you got?
Man, I just got sweet tea today, bro. I just got some sweet tea. That's it. Nothing else. No chasing. No nothing. Just sweet tea. Yeah.
Sweet tea naked.
Yeah.
So I'm the only one drinking.
You the only one. We all drinking. You the only one get our alcohol.
Let's go and do these libations, man.
Yeah,
Come on, man. Somebody out there that's listening or watching us, please have a drink. All right, bottles, glasses, cups that are plastic, alleyways backwards, perfection takes practice. Friendship turn kinship, 2/3 of the street dynastic.
Brotherhood from the neighborhood. This podcast is going to be a classic. Divine state of mind. Our subject sublime. On the rocks, brother. Give me something strong.
A mixer, a slice of lime. Put your drink up. Now let's link up. It's number love in this atmosphere. Peace, salutations, brothers and sisters. The fellas, we in here. Peace.
Cheers.
All right.
Before we even get started, I'm honest with you. I don't drink dark liquor. I drink beer, but so if I get to cutting up a little bit, I apologize in advance.
So
about what I've heard in the back alley.
Yeah, tell us what's going on in the back alley, boss.
I heard there was just some, talk, some rumblings about would 40 acres and a mule fix it for the black community? Would 40 acres and a mule fix
40 acres and a mule? Would it fix it? Interesting.
That's
wow.
That's a hell of a topic. That's a hell of a conversation for some people to have in the alley. So when you told me about that, we've heard this forever. You know what I'm saying? 40 acres and a mule. And that's a slogan. Shit, you can find it on t-shirts. I honestly never knew, like, okay, but what is an acre? How much is that, equivalent to? So I had to go and look it up, and then it said like it's about, so 1 acre is like is approximately, or the official thing is 43,560 square feet. So a football field is like 48,000. And so it said like 40 acres is equivalent to 0.0625 square miles, or 1,742,400 square feet. So I was trying to just kind of wrap my mind around what that looked like for one individual, and then I had to go and I did a little something on by Dr. Henry Louis Gates out of Harvard, and it's on PBS, and it's like the 100 amazing facts about the Negro, the truth behind 40 acres and a mule. And I could touch on it a little bit about some of the things as we progress through. But I just wanted to get y'all thoughts on that, because we could talk about what it would be, but he kind of breaks down the facts and how it was introduced and who introduced it. And really what I didn't know is that they kind of had designated a stretch of land from I think it's like coastal South Carolina all the way to there was a portion, and I had to find it, in Florida. That was the stretch of land that they had set aside for free slaves or African American Africans. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I found that interesting that they had actually kind of had a stretch of land, and what that would look like. That's a whole nother maybe even conversation about if we would have gotten that. I mean, it lays out in those general orders. I think it was General Order 15.
Yeah,
This was passed. It lays out in three different stanzas in that order, the criteria and what they were going to do. So I don't know how many people have actually heard about that. So hopefully sometime during this conversation, we'll get a chance to kind of just give that so people can have that, maybe go take a look at it and have it,
Right.
because we talk about it, but we don't know about it. So
it's interesting that even in those orders, though, they never actually talked about the mule. The mule part came up later.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and I read that same article, and they talked about the Union General William T. Sherman special order number 15 is what it was. But I was reading this other article that talked about, had each person with at least a drop of African blood in them been given the 40 acres and a mule during that time frame. At this point in time in America, each Black person would be worth $6.4 trillion.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how true that quote is, and I didn't do the math on it, but that's research from someone else that said that did the research. So it would be interesting. But to tell you the truth, in my opinion, it would be a smart move for America to do that without the mule, but at least the 40 acres, because the truth of the matter, it will put something that's years old to rest, at least for the most part, and then they get the land right back, Mike. And if you think about it, today, there's acres, and it depends on, of course, where the property is and all that. But an acre can go anywhere from $15,000, $20,000 up to $60,000, $80,000 per acre. Let's just do a round number. Let's say $50,000 an acre. You talking about, you take 40 acres and you take, like, let's say at least 20 of them and sell them. Let's see, times 20, 50,000 times 20 is $1 million. I'm telling you, that 20 of my acres will be gone. That's family, that's generational change in money. So, So I wouldn't probably get rid of all my acres, but at least 20 of them would be gone to have ready cash to do some things with, and I'd keep 20. So the point that I'm making is, if I believe that most, especially any Blacks that don't really have much or nothing, they're going to sell. They're not going to just keep the land because they wouldn't know what to do with it.
Well, so I think that, well, go ahead, Six. Please go ahead, bro.
Yeah, well, I just got a question for you, so you can answer this for me. Either one of you brothers pose this question. What would or what does 40 acres and a mule look like at this day and time? Draw me a picture of what that would look like. And for some of our viewers, what does that literally look like to an individual of from a Black descent? What I mean, literally, I mean, what would that look like if you're looking out into a field or into a, you know, like myself, I like the farm life. What would that look like as far as acres? I'm trying to picture that before I give any details coming from me.
My whole subdivision is probably 40 acres. This whole subdivision.
Okay.
It's probably 40 acres.
Okay.
A little less than that. I mean, the subdivision is probably a little more than 40 acres, but it's that gives you a good estimate. This subdivision is a little less than 40 acres.
Okay. The next question is that mule. That mule meaning transportation, farm equipment. What would that mule be this day and time? What do you guys think?
Well, this day, it's hard to translate to this day and time. I think that's what Mike was heading toward. You got to remember when this was done, and you're talking about the 1800s, early 1900s. So mules were prevalent then because they used mules to farm.
Right.
Had a lot of value back then because you could till your ground with it, and that's probably what that came. I didn't really look up where the mule came from, but I'm sure in my mind that it comes from, if they gave you 40 acres, you're going to need something to help you till that land. And that's probably where the mule came.
Yeah, I think that when you look at that, that's about accurate, Pat. That you can't really, you look at it from transportation at that time, but more from a work perspective, tilling the ground, things of that nature. So like Pat was saying, some estimates go between 640 billion to, like I said, 6.4 trillion, somewhere around that thing. So for me, I think it's a combination. One, because I don't think that the United States would ever give up. Like, if we thought they wowed out on January the 6th, let them fools try to go in what is the term where they appropriate? But it's a
I know what you're talking about, where they
actually come
land.
in, they actually come and they take the land from you. You know, like if you ride down I-10 and the police can come in and take everything off of you. You have to go to court to get it. Like, so if they came in and they just took everything from what was designated from South Carolina to a portion of Florida, do you know what would happen in this country?
Purge forever.
So that alone,
yes, sir,
from a land aspect would just be, I don't see them even having the gumption to do something like that. So now we're talking about money. And I would say, if we're going to do that without parcels of land, and I think that there could be land that we should look at and see, but I think it should be a combination of money, land, and tax credits, other loan forgiveness, credit forgiveness. I think that there's a combination, because see, in a spectrum, because capitalism is really an issue all to itself. So if we're going to continue and have to play in this game, then we kind of have to play in it. Unfortunately, we gotta play in the capitalistic game. Even though it's.
But do you think it would help us?
I do think it would help us. Yeah, I absolutely think it would help us. But like I said, it would have to be a combination of things. It would not just money. It would have to be a combination of things, but absolutely, because it would at least laws that would need to be adjusted. I mean, because you're talking about when we talk about the 40 acres and a mule, that's just one portion of it. When you think about everything else that goes into play, and that's why the interest alone, when you like, if we're talking about 40 acres and a mule, and what was introduced at that point, think about it, everything that transpired from that decision that they didn't do, that they
Right.
just said, nah, we ain't doing that. So Jim Crow, segregate, all of that other stuff, to the point where you're talking about land being lost, discriminatory practices for housing, and all the different things that play in it. So there had to be a slew of things that would have to fall in place, that I think that again, you give everybody a 750, 800 credit score, whatever the case might be. Because if you're trying to buy houses and do things of that nature, you know that you need that. You know what I mean? So you can have that smaller interest payment, so that you're not, all that excess pay. Y'all know where I'm going with that. So I think that if we were able to do all of those things, it would absolutely help us, because generational wealth is built by supposedly by land, buying homes, things of the nature, accruing the interest, accruing equity in those things, and being able to pass those things down so that it doesn't have to be recreated or started from anew with other ones. So I think it would help. I do.
I know this. If you gave every black person 40 acres and a mule, more than likely all of America be sold up. It'd be sold up.
I think what we're missing too is it wasn't just 40 acres, it was 40 tillable acres.
Yeah.
That's the
which
difference.
means it was already cleared and it was already ready to be tilled. So this is flat land that's already ready. It ain't no clear
man.
And all that stuff. It was 40 tillable acres.
So you take that and you multiply that by every black American that would I guess what agreeing what Michael said, if you were able to get that and maintain it for every black American in America right now, you picture that at 40 acres a pop.
Dang, I'm telling you,
that wouldn't. They gonna let that happen. That'd be a war. It'd be a war.
Let's be realistic about this. 20
That's not gonna happen.
And using the basic math, not even saying that like some acres are 80,000, 100,000. Let's just say an acre was 50,000, just for conversation's sake. And 20 of those acres is $1 million. I can tell you, in my own personal opinion, 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 people are going to sell at least 20 acres.
Yeah.
$1 million cash, it would be gone. Now, I'd like to keep 20 acres for family, maybe house, stuff like that. Maybe let somebody build an apartment complex or something on for residual income. But for the average person that's making $20,000, $30,000 a year, you think they're gonna hold on to some land and worry about that land is gone? I'm gonna almost instantly as they got it, it's gonna be sold right back to the.
But see, for me, the provisions, if I'm drawing those things up, and there's been a long reparations movement way before any of these newcomers that are out here now. And we would go to them to look to what they represented. But to me, it would be that if you wanted to sell that land, it would automatically have to be, it would stay within the community. So first dibs would always have to go back within our community in order to keep that. So even if you got that million, it'll be somebody like myself or someone else that could do it. So I'm saying with a mixture of different things, because you're right, there are going to be people that's going to sell to get that. But I think that if you include also credit, forgiveness on certain things, tax things, certain things like that, that allow people that are making whatever small, if you make it 30, 40,000.
You ain't got to worry about credit. You can fix your credit with $1 million.
Well, yeah, but that shit can go easy though. A
And
million, you can spend,
I'm a
you
big
can spend
gentleman.
a million easy,
Right.
especially if you ain't, because you could talk about, fixing your credit
Well, I'm
in
keeping
cash,
mine.
but
I'm gonna keep mine and flip it, Pat. I'm gonna keep my 40 and get 40 more. More than that, really. I'm going for the 100 some odd acres because of just what you're talking about. Because compared to having 40 and selling 20, I'd rather have 140 and sell the 40 and still have 100, if that makes sense. 120, put it that way, or
yeah.
whatever.
No, I get what you're
That's what
saying. I just
I
think
I
that
would like to do that.
there
That
there are
40 though, that
ways
40 this day and time, get that million and then reinvest it and buy something else, or keep the 40. If think about this though, what would your average Black person do from the west end of Louisville if they said, if it got in the mail, this is your 40 acres and a mule?
I don't think it would be
How
that.
long would that last? How long
I
would
don't
that
think
last?
it would be. I don't know if it would be that
Not to
simple,
knock
but
nobody. I'm not
but
judging.
but but
Don't get me
I
wrong. I'm
don't
not
I don't
judging.
know. I don't know. And
Yeah.
the one thing, because we do this a lot, and so I'm trying. I like, my attempt is that we hard as hell on Black people, because there's a whole bunch of other people, and I know we just talk because that's who we are and that's who our concern is. I don't know what the average person would do. They probably would do
Yeah.
whatever. So part of it, if I'm part of the introduction into this, is the education piece, putting some other things in place, because I know that the
Yeah.
minute somebody gets this,
Yeah.
they gonna go do this. So I got to put some other things in place to kind of at least help protect them,
Right. Give
so
us some
that
options.
even if they get a bunch of money, like somebody that won a
Lottery or something. Yeah.
and then some years later they back broke. Let's say
Right.
they don't have no skills, they back to working whatever, and they making less than 30,000 or whatever some a year. That at least if their credit at a certain point stays, like, say, okay, you're gonna, no matter what, you're gonna have this amount of credit for this period of time. We give them that window. Then after that, it's on them. We figure out what that is. You at least be able to get some things, so that you'll have some discretionary income.
Credit's debt.
Huh?
Credit is debt.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
if you do that, you're going to put people in debt. Then they'll eventually spend the money, like you said. They're broke. Now they're broke and they got debt, and their credit's going to go back bad again.
Well, that's why I said you got to have some form of education. Listen, unless we're going to see, because we can't just say it in a vacuum. Unless we're going to get rid of capitalism and change something different, you dealing with a credit debit society. So and so I know that there's going to be a certain amount of money. I know that there's going to be some people that's going to sell. So my thing is, let's forgive debt. Let's repair credit, so that everyone, for 5 or 10 or 7 years, whatever you want to do, 10-year window, everyone maintains between a 750 and an 800 credit score. It don't drop below this amount. Now, after that, you on your own.
That's unheard of.
Well, we talking about doing reparations. So we already doing hypotheticals. So why can't I add that on? Why would I be able to add that on?
What would that look like though? I mean, if you are given, one of us is given 40 acres and a mule, and this has nothing to do with credit or nothing, like it's just like winning a lottery. We go in the store and buy a lottery ticket and you hit for 5.5 million. That would be equivalent of doing them coming to your door and saying, here, you got to let us come claim your 40 acres and a mule. Now if you got bad credit or not, are you saying that now that you got to come along with this 40 acres and mules, we also gonna give you this credit score to maintain?
So let me apologize. Let me apologize with this. I'm mixing two pots. I'm mixing reparations, even though 40 acres and a mule is that, separate from 40 acres and a mule. Because in my eyes, 40 acres and a mule, or reparations altogether, is a combination of both. So if we're just talking about 40 acres and a mule, whatever that equivalent would be for everyone, and you just got that in the mail,
what would you do with it?
Well, like I said, I don't know if we're gonna get the land, so we're back to the money. So that's like a stimulus check that just came in.
That's a good question. I'm thinking to myself about that too.
Yeah.
What if you were offered the money instead of the land? Which one would you brothers take?
I would take the land.
Yeah. Good education. That's good education right there. I would take the land also.
Take the money.
I'll take the land.
I take the land because I can
Yeah, me too.
I can make that money back.
I take the money.
Yeah, well, I just know from my prior history, I'm talking about, since I've found out about what's more valuable, and money goes a long way, but that if I just had the land,
what's that?
And land lasts a lot longer than money.
Yeah, but what are you lasting for?
Family,
50,
generation.
1 years old.
Yeah, your
For
family.
the rest of my family, my grandbabies, my babies to be born. Because that money will run out. That money, with my oldest right now, with money, by the time you get done with them grandbabies and children, it'd probably be gone then. My great grandbabies won't see a thing. And I'm not saying that even the land will last that long.
With that same frame of thought that you got, when he gets that land, he gonna sell it, and they take the money. So it's a vicious circle. So just taking land,
I still take the land.
Absolutely nothing. Because if you're thinking like that, he gonna take the land. Oh, Dad left me this land. I mean, it's a friend of ours that runs a cigar bar here. He's a gun enthusiast. He's got like 85. What do you say? 85 guns.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I went for sure. I didn't.
Guns. Why are you gonna buy all those guns? Because when I'm passing on to my kids, but my kids ain't really into guns. Well, you waste your money because when you die, they're gonna take the guns and sell them.
Yeah, I mean, you can't predict. The only thing that you could do as a parent is hopefully instill in them the importance of things and hope that as they get older, they become a little more wiser, or you put something in a will or in a trust that says that they can't touch these until age 30 or 40, so that hopefully maybe at that age, they may have a little more wisdom and appreciate, like there's certain things that, our parents talked to us or told us about that in our 20s and maybe mid 30s, based on our maturity level, we may or may not have been appreciated. But now we like, oh man, if I had that now, or if I knew, or if I was in this frame of mind then, I would be able to. And so so again, when I'm thinking about it and I'm thinking about the question, I'm thinking about being a part of the solution to wrap that whole thing around, to kind of protect, because I agree with Pat from the perspective that the large majority are going to sell.
Yeah,
it's gonna come right back. You know what I mean? And it'll be the perpetual cycle of, capitalism, this and this exploitation, this and this being debt, so forth and so on.
Sometimes when we have these conversations, we look at people for what we view them as versus what they really are. I don't think that we always look at a ground level view. I think we're at the 20,000 foot and we look at how we would like things to be or how we perceive things could be. It's just the people I know or have seen, especially we talk about like the people from the hood. They are not thinking about, whether y'all believe it or not, they're not thinking about I'm good to land for my kids and my grandkids. They thinking about if I get this land and I'm broke as a joke right now, or I'm making $7.50, $8 an hour. I'm selling this land to get some money right now. Now they might not sell all of it, but the majority of that's gonna be gone. And when you think about taking 40 acres and I'm gonna save this for my kids and my grandkids, and you at a point we don't really, none of us really have much of nothing right now, and you're talking about holding on to some a valuable asset that could change not only your life now but your future. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it does.
Okay.
It don't. Yeah,
Okay.
it don't have to
Yeah,
to you.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
But
right, that's
go
okay.
ahead.
That's cool. I get that. I understand that. But for me, I do know, and I'm willing to do that. I'm not going to take the money because I've learned from I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about nobody else.
Right.
I'm talking about me personally. I wouldn't, if it would come to me right now, and
But what are you
it was
gonna live
mine.
off of?
What would I do?
What are you gonna live off of?
It's a number of things you can live off of. You can
What are you
till the
talking
ground.
about?
You can lease the land.
So are you saying that just because I remember the question was if I had a choice to take the money or the land, I'm just saying I would take the land. And just as well as I know, and you know, that there's plenty to do with the land. Come on. There's first of all, for one acre, there's gonna be somebody that's gonna want that. I mean, you could sell that, you could do that, but I'm talking about keeping it from the decision. I'll agree with Mike because you would have to put, I mean, if we're going to go that route, you would have to put clause in, because we know that, like you said, somebody from the hood, they're going to mess it up. Yeah, you know it. And it'd be probably best to take the money.
Land?
Huh?
Again, we looking at it from a standpoint. The question is, will it help us?
But
Help us right now.
Yeah, but I can't speak for everyone, but it would help some and some it wouldn't. So it would help some if they sold it and they could do whatever they were going to do in the immediate future with the hopes that it will sustain
Generate
itself
money
for years to come, and a year or two or a few years later down the line, they not dead. We would hope that, whatever the people got with the land, that's why I say if provisions were in that if you got it and you got 40 acres and you was like, shit, I'm gonna sell 20, that it would have to be provision that it have to stay within the collective community to say, well, Pat, hell, I know Pat about to sell 20. Pat, let me get that 20. It's a million. Boom, boom, boom. Figure out a way, because based on that million, based on my land, I can go to the bank and say, this is my assets. I need this to do this. I'm gonna give you this million that you want. Now from here, I can go and do what I need to do and make those things happen. You know what I'm saying? Because we could do that on top of whether or not we get a stretch of money. I don't really know. I just feel like, sometimes we talk about, it's similar to, I remember a friend of mine was talking about, like we were doing this mentoring thing, and he brought this to my attention. He said, a lot of times when we go and do these mentoring, he said, we always focus on the kids that are from the, maybe the downtrodden, whatever, that they got the bag, like need the help. Said we never focus on the ones that are doing that are doing okay. Maybe at that B, maybe A, whatever. But all it takes is one left turn and it could go all the way wrong. We forget about those people that are doing it, but just hanging on. So a lot of times when we have these conversations, we talk about like the hood folks, but we all know people that are educated and do that, and that's a good majority of Black people too that would take full advantage of those things. So absolutely, there'll be some people in the West End would take the money and be like, I need that lick right now, and flip it whatever way they were gonna flip it. And then there's some people that's gonna be like, I'm gonna hold on to this, and I might sell a portion and at least I'm gonna do whatever. There's a number of different things that people would do. It would be beneficial. It would be better. I think it'll help because it's better than not having anything.
So are you saying that, well, I know you're not saying, but I heard you say that, and I do think about that sometime, when it comes to helping, for those that are less fortunate, we always, talk about them, but what about the ones who are doing it and need support, or they needing help also? Where do they help come from? So do you think one outweighs the other, or are they both the same and we just forget? Or because I think about that as far as when it comes to we not being a father in the house, we need to help that family. But then what about the woman who's there with them? Does she need the same? Is that what you're meaning by?
Well, no, I don't want to mix apples. That's a different conversation. I was just trying to touch on the fact that trying to make the correlation that a lot of times we think about the worst part of a particular group, and we forget about those that may seem like they're doing well, but they are a step away from falling back. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no leeway. As a Black person, there's really no leeway. No matter how well you're doing, there's unless you at that exceptional level, that 1%, there's not that much leeway from you being here and here. Because we can see that on paper. So I don't disagree with Pat that if we're talking about some of our folks that we know from our neighborhood that have historically been disenfranchised and don't have anything, they absolutely are going to jump on whatever, and they should jump on it to immediately sustain themselves.
Well, and I didn't mean cut you off, Mike.
No, go ahead.
But to ride with Pat, I know Pat is being a realist. I'm looking for a word there on what.
Yeah, I got you.
Because and I heard you mention this, Pat. That's why I'm gonna roll with you on this. I'm gonna walk with you on this. I ain't gonna roll. I'm gonna walk with you. And what you're speaking on, yeah, I'm taking the money. I'm 51. Is that what you see where I'm going with that, Thomas? I'm 51. I'm down here with my brother. We got a business. We doing well. My health is fine. A decision. Somebody comes to me and offers me the land or the money, I'm taking the money because we know. Is that what you're saying, Thomas?
No,
because that's real.
I wasn't saying either or. We were speaking of selling some or part of the. I ain't saying sell all of it, but it makes sense to take 40 acres and hold on to them for your grandkids while you're living in poverty right now, or you're living below what.
That's what I'm saying.
No. I agree with you. No.
That sounds idiotic.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
And so I don't have
possibly $2-3 million worth of land. And you say, I'm gonna sit here broke as a joke because I'm saying
no. Pat, I don't think anybody disagrees with that.
That's why I stopped talking.
That's why I wanted
to.
No, but nobody said that.
No, that's why I wanted to clear that up though.
He said, I take the land and hold on to it for my grandkids.
Well, I'm saying, but I think that there's more to it. I think there's more layered. I think he ended that conversation saying that's what I would do, but not necessarily saying that's the end all be all. Like, because you could take the land and then you can lease the land. You could put housing units on the land. You could do all those things that bring in income that then pass down to the generations. So I didn't take William or Brother Six as saying, pardon me for your government, but I didn't take it as like I'm just gonna sit on it and I ain't gonna do nothing. I figured he was like, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna do some things with it, whether it's take a partial of that.
I didn't figure nothing. I just took what he said.
Well,
right,
okay.
Yeah, and that's why
we always had these
came back with that because I wanted to clear that up to make sure that I didn't want to sound foolish to the listeners out there.
That ain't why we have these conflicts.
What say what? What you say?
Nothing.
No, that's why I was saying. That's why I came back and said to you, keep it in, right. You're talking about right now, this very moment. If it were to come to me and I had to make a decision on taking the 40 acres or the money, and I said I would take the 40 acres, meaning what Mike was
that wasn't
saying.
even the conversation.
But I get
you going back to that, but that was
I know it. No, it was a question that I posed. That was just a question that I posed. It wasn't a conversation. It was just a question that I asked, remember? I asked if you were offered the 40 acres or money, the equivalent of the 40 acres, which one would you take? And that's where this conversation took off going left, which brought up what I want to get at is, okay, if we were to get that land, what would we do with what would that look like? Like the beginning when I asked, was like, what would we do with that as Black people?
Well, before we go there, I think the question that Pat initially asked was would it, and it maybe ties into what you were asking, Six, was would it fix the community? And I don't know. We've talked about what we would do and so forth. I don't know if we've addressed if it would, if we agreed that it would or it wouldn't. And if not, why do we feel that way? So I think that it would in some ways. So let me be definitive with the answer. I think it would. I ain't gonna, for the sake of content, I think it would be helpful. I think it would fix the community. I'm gonna stand on that and try to do that argument. If we get to that, what say you, Pat?
I think it would fix majority of the issues that we have in the community, whether they kept it or sold it. Either way, it's going to generate wealth and possibly generational wealth for years to come. Because whether, with the exception of maybe those that do drugs or something, and just, the majority of the people are gonna, I believe, do some things that will at least help one generation. When I say, their kids, or if they would go as far as helping grandkids, and everything, but at least they would help probably their kids, because most people would do something directly for their kids. I don't know, but I think it would greatly help. I don't know that it would fix
Okay.
problem, because I believe that our problem is deeper than money or land.
True. I agree with that. I agree
That's
with
what
that.
That's exactly what I was
statement,
saying.
Pat.
I don't know if it'll fix it, because our problems run much deeper than 40 acres and a mule, but it would definitely help. So that's where I'm at.
Can't even get on a phone call message together as a group. So I know that 40 acres and a mule is not gonna fix the issues that we have as a people.
Oh, man.
So,
Just for your viewers to understand, Big Pat is Big Pat because he's the big brother to all of us. So he is the elder.
but
he's stubborn. He's stubborn as hell. But he's the one that gets us in line, and typically he is the person that's gonna say what needs to be said. So we defer.
It'll help.
Huh?
I really do think it will help, because of the condition or state that the majority of us are in.
Yeah.
It will make a difference. I think group that won't do right is a small. Now they get advertised or seen more, and they try to make them out to represent the whole Black community.
There we go. Absolutely.
But
the
reality,
that was well put.
I saw a statistic that said Black women are more educated than anybody, on the planet.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So I think in the end, there's enough Black people, not ninjas. There's enough people that have given 40 acres and a mule or the equivalent money, either or, that would do the right thing, and it would actually help the community.
And I'm listening to you, but I see the pretty special guest back in the background.
Yeah,
the grandbaby.
My grandbaby.
Yeah. So we always shout out the family.
To the family.
I did want to add, what up, sis? I did want to ask you both this, and it might be similar to what Six was asking. Are there other things? I threw out a couple of different things, but are there some other things on the 40 acres and a mule that you think would be essential to helping I'm gonna change the word fix our problems, but eradicate many of the issues that we have, systemic issues that we have within our community. What are some things that you would add on to that? If they came to you, Big Fat, if they came to you, Brother Six, and they said, hey, we want you on this community, you're gonna head this up, not community, a committee, for reparations and everything like this, and 40 acres and a mule, this is the equivalent, this is what it's looking like, blah, blah, blah. Because I do want to, before we go, touch on the thing that I got right here. That's what I printed out just to give people that knowledge before we go. What do y'all think could be added on to that?
I think no matter what you add, if you add anything, it's just going to complicate it or convolute it. But I really believe that all you would really need is the bare minimum, the 40 acres and allow people to do what they're going to do. Because once you start convoluting it, that's what they're counting on. They're counting on, let's say that this was to actually start going through. They're counting on people to come, just like the government we have right today, the Democrats, Republicans, everything is convoluted. Nothing is, hey, let's vote no, let's do this. Everything. So they counting on people to convolute it, to drag it all out, muddy it up, and mess it up. So it should be 40 acres and a mule, do what you want with it. And because I think the majority of our problems are not necessarily within our own, let's say, race. And money or land is not going to fix our problems until we fix the mindset of some of the people that are actually in control of this country.
Yeah.
So we got millionaires that still get called the N-word, still get arrested and thrown on the ground. And so money in land is not going to fix our issues.
What say you, Six?
Man, that's kind of, and I ain't saying it's tough, but the words or my expression on what I really think about that, it kind of, to be honest with you, I don't know, man, because I know for sure, I know this, it would not fix the problem whether we convoluted or set laws and restrictions or tell them it's yours, you can do what you want to. I'm a ride with both of you brothers on this, because I think we're all on the same side of the fence here when we say the problem runs much more deeper than that. So to sit here and say one thing or the other, we all know sitting here that it runs much deeper, man. And until we fix that problem, then it doesn't really matter. What about you? What about you, MD?
Well, I would say there would definitely be some things. I mean, I laid out a couple of them, but I actually would, because I think that if I just stuck with just the money, the 40 acres and a mule, then I'm leaving out all of the other things. I'm gonna wrap it in the interest that has accrued from all of the policies, all of the decisions, all of the things, the systematic things that have been placed. So I'm going to throw some things on there that are going to at least speak to and address, and hopefully, if nothing else, have some things in place to put that there on top of the other things. So I'm going to try to layer it enough that we have several different elements of protection for the collective whole. You know what I'm saying? So for those that are just gonna do what they're gonna do, it is what it is. But there's going to be some other things in place that speak to some of the systematic issues that we see. That while granted, if there's a mindset from the dominant culture here in this country that need to be changed, that ain't nothing they gonna hate no matter what. But there's certain things that could be put in place, because there's some laws and there's some things that y'all did that purposely made sure that our fathers and grandfathers that served and did those things couldn't go out and get those VA loans and those home loans and things of that nature. And there's still things that go on right now. And there's certain things that when like the black lady was here in the city that in Indy that had a house assessed and it was low, and then she got a white lady to do it, and they assessed the house that I don't know how much it was, and it was like, man, what? We still doing this in 2021? Like there's certain things that need to be in place. So I would say that it would. But just real quick, so for our listeners, if you ever want to go out to PBS and you kind of want to know what this 40 acres, and again, Big Pat broke it down to us about, General Sherman in May of 1865. But now William Lewis Gates, or Dr. Gates, kind of breaks down that there was blacks played a intricate role in getting this pushed or whatever. But it says in section 1, it says the Allens, and so y'all look this up, because I just was kind of looking this up. It says the Allens from Charleston, South Carolina, the abandoned rice fields along the river for 30 miles back from the sea, in the country bordering the St. Johns River, Florida. Man, that's down there near Orlando. So from Charleston, South Carolina to Orlando, are reserved and set apart for settlement of the Negroes, now made free by the acts of war and the proclamation of the President of the United States. Section 2 specifies that these new communities, moreover, will be governed entirely by black people themselves on the islands and in the settlements hereafter to be established. No white person whatsoever, unless military officers and soldiers detailed for duty, will be permitted to reside. And the sole and exclusive management of affairs will be left to the free people themselves. By the laws of war and orders of the President of the United States, the Negro is free and must be dealt with as such. Finally, Section 3 specifies the allocation of land. Each family shall have a plot of not more than 40 acres of tillable ground, like you talked about, Pat, when it borders on some water channel with not more than 800 feet waterfront, in the possession of which land the military authorities will afford them protection until such time as they can protect themselves, until Congress shall regulate their title. Listen, if they'd have stuck with this, this country might not have been in the problem that we in right now. If they'd have did this. If they'd have stuck with this, we might not be in the issues that we in right now. But when you look at that landmass and this is like, I never knew this. So this is new to me. So just reading that and looking at that landmass and looking what the proposal and what they put on paper, in the Freedmen's Bureau, that's deep, man. That's deep. That's
a lot of land. That's a lot of land to be owned with no white people. That's a lot of land.
Bro, they was
governed by nobody. Yeah,
by black people. The only white people to be on there is if we call you in there to protect.
You at work, right?
You protect, you know what I'm saying? Until they can protect themselves, and then you get you dip on out. And that and in the more science, they be like part and partial of the Constitution. That doesn't mean that we would be outside of the scope of the United States or whatever, but it would be like we would be able to govern ourselves, taxes, all of those different things. Like, man, that would be
like a regular state, because the regular states have their own local government and laws to govern that particular state. So I think
how many states is that?
That's
4 states down there.
South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. So 3.
Florida.
Yeah, 3.
States.
Yeah, 3 states, all on the coast.
And all of that land, just think back then too, up until now. What type of problem, man?
You know what I'm saying? That's heavy. That's definitely heavy.
That's a game changer.
That's definitely a game changer. That's definitely a game changer. That for sure. So I'm going to look at this more and just for my own just knowledge, just understanding how we really played a role in that. And we'll see what happens, and we might have another discussion about, reparations and who is working on it now and where it actually stemmed from, because I think that there might be a disconnect, and I've listened to a couple of professors that have talked about that, and so there's a lot of literature out there on
And
that.
I think one of our next topic should be, since we went with 40 acres and a meal, fix it. One of our next topics should be, or one coming up soon should be, is it time to let that idea go and move on? Or, I don't know how we heard it, because I'm just throwing this off the cuff, but I just thought about it, we've been talking about this. This was done in what? When did we say this was? 150 years ago?
Yeah.
And
Are you talking about reparations, Pat? It's conversation on reparations?
General Sherman's Field Order number 15 was done about 150 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We're still talking about it. So is it time that we move on and let that go, or is it a time? And we ain't gonna answer this now. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, that'd be a good. That's a good topic.
Time that we really get behind it, because it's one of the reasons that it's not been pushed. Because you got to think, over the past 100 years, Black people have never been in the positions that they're in now. We got lawyers, judges, doctors, police chiefs, senators, Congress, even had a Black president. So we all get behind this now. Will it make some more movement? So
and I'm sorry, Pat. And to your point, I think that if we don't jump into it, like, and shout out to all, I think like ADOS and a lot of other ones that are picking this up. But I also know, and shout out to Dr. Greg Carr, because I get a lot of education from just listening to that brother. That movement was back then, and there were people that were writing, talking, and thinking these things out. And so I think that if we go back to the future, if we go back to what our elders, our ancestors were talking about at that moment in time, and bring that forward and really educate ourselves on that, so that we can and then bring in these new things, like, okay, what else would we need? Like, okay, what else? If we get this and we get land, what else in money? What else do we need in order to help, propel this generational wealth? Because we got to immediately get out of debt and create some generational wealth initially. Then we need some things to sustain us in the long run. But I think we can only do that if we go back and look at what they wrote, because I think they kind of spoke to some of that. And I don't know if everyone is doing it. So no, that's a great topic, Pat. We could talk more about that.
On the other side of that, Thomas, to answer the other side of that, what about those that are in power or do have respect and money? Just on the side of saying, man, we need to quit talking about that, because that ain't gonna happen. We tired of keep asking and begging for this reparation. I do get that part. What are they saying? What it'd be interesting to have that conversation, man, because the other side of that is, because Mike, that would be the best move, to educate ourselves and to move forward with that and push. But then, like Pat said, is it worth it? Are they still talking about that? Is that next generation really worried about getting reparations? So that is
we've been fighting for 150 years and it ain't happened. So is the fight dead? Is it like a cold case? We're gonna bring it back up?
Well, I think but we don't want to deal with that. It'd be an interesting topic.
It'd be an interesting conversation.
Because we could go on and on. I see them street lights is on.
Yeah, I seen that. Okay, I seen that. I think that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty good. Pretty nice. I seen that.
Again, I want to close with. It's always a very interesting conversation with you brothers, and those that are watching and listening. First of all, again, we appreciate you. Tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody, and when we have our little falling outs, it's all in love. It's all in. We're never all agree on something, and that's kind of what this podcast is built on. It's built on being able to voice your opinion and not necessarily agree. If we all just got on here and agreed with each other, what would it be? So shout outs to Fat Blood, Reggie Smith, who would definitely be here and would be, oh my God, this would be such an interesting conversation with that.
Oh my goodness.
Brother, like we know him.
Oh man. Picture that.
in the end, I think that the 40 acres and a mule would help. I don't think it would fix, but it would help our community. And again, it's always a pleasure to be on here with you, brothers.
Always a pleasure with you, brother. To our listeners and viewers out there, we want to thank you once again for tuning in. And I'm going to walk with the brother and say that he's absolutely right. Please don't judge us and don't judge each other before judging yourself and looking in the mirror. But with the 40 acres and a mule, I think we all come to agreement that it would definitely help, but it would not fix the problem. That's one thing for sure, and I'm going to stand on that. I want to thank you, brothers, for allowing me the time and opportunity to be on here with you. And for the viewers and listeners, send in your comments, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever it may be, because like he was saying, this is not a just because we said it makes it true. This is just to get the conversation started. So when you listen to us, this is something that you should bring up amongst your friends and family, because we do think these are important conversations that are just not happening anymore. So that I think that would be one of the reasons for me personally on here. I want to give a shout out to all my Louisville family, everyone there, to you brothers. And I pray that hopefully see you guys again soon. Mike D, what you got?
It's crazy that that Pat took us down that lane. So yeah, definitely shout out to everyone. I don't even have to repeat that. And it's always love with us, man. I love you brothers dearly. I was sitting back and I was looking at this picture of Reg and was just thinking about, like, yeah, he would definitely be here. And that his born day would be is the 2nd of September, which is a Thursday. You know what I mean? It's always around that Labor Day weekend, and it'd be 2 years. And then I think about that particular week. My mom's passed like on the 5th of September, so that's always like now one of those little somber weeks, because you think about different things. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know if there's a plan to do anything, if or whatnot, but yeah, I miss that brother, man. I miss having conversations with that brother. It would be interesting. So on that note, I'm gonna jump off of that. But like I said, man, we appreciate everyone. The street lights is on. We got to get our ass back in the house on the porch. Make sure mama and them know where we at. So until then, until next time.
Good people.
Peace.
Sweet darling.